Okay, when you create a grid inside of Management Plus, you can come in, you can right click on the grid, you can click edit columns, and you can adjust the column parameters and change the width and things. Well, that's for standard grids. The grids inside of inside of Management Plus that are related to SNOMED codes and LOINC codes and meaningful use in those things, you can't do that to. When you right click, you don't get that option. So there is a way to adjust some of those columns and some of the parameters. You have to use the Form as Text tool inside of Form Designer. So your first step is to get the name of the grid that you want to adjust. So in this case, we're going to take the allergies grid and we're going to make visible a column that we have before made invisible, which is the active column. Alright, so we're going to get the name of this grid. I'm just going to come down here and copy it into my clipboard. Then I'm going to go up to View, Form as Text. I'm going to put my cursor at the very top. I'm going to do Control F to pull up the Find window, and then I'm going to paste in Allergies grid. At the first, I'm going to put the word Object with a space, and then I'm going to click Find. So everything indented to the right of this O in Object has to do with the allergies grid. When I come down here and I start seeing these objects, it's going to show me each one of these objects is related to one column inside of this grid. Some of these columns were already not visible by default, such as this one, which is just the ID that our system gives each line in the patient's allergies. But other ones we made invisible in this particular form. So we're going to remove the tag that makes it invisible on the active column. So I'm scrolling down until I find the active column. And then I'm going to take out the line that says visible equals false. Now along with that, I need to change the width because I had set the width when I made it invisible to 0. Now, so I'm going to change that to 35. In this case, because it's a checkbox, I know that 35 is the perfect width. You may have to play around with this if you're using a different column to get it to look how you want it to look. Once I put that in, I'm going to do Control S to save this. And you're going to see the form flash, and then you're going to have the column right over there on the right hand side in this case, because it was the last column. Now let's say that I wanted to move that active column to right over here. What I would do is I'd click View, Form as Text. I'd take this entire thing from Object to End. You can see, you know where you're going because it lines up indented wise. So I'm going to take that whole thing and I'm going to cut it out, remove that extra space, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to put it next to the allergy type. I guess it's not the allergy type, that one's false, visible, so I'm going to, under the allergen right here, I'm going to paste that in. Now I can do Control S to save. You'll see it flash, and now it moved that column over there. If I want to change, maybe I want the reaction to be a little smaller, I can click on View, Form as Text, find the reaction one, I can change the width to 100, and I can go ahead and save that, and it makes it smaller. What that does is it automatically adjusts some of the other ones to be a little larger as well, because the entire grid has a width, and so the columns have to fit that width. So you might have to play around with the widths to kind of get it to look how you want it to look once you've gotten the columns in there that you want.